So we ask, like, how are we getting these books in the Bible? How do we know what counts? Well, the Bible itself is giving us some of these like categories. When Jesus talks about Scripture in the Gospels, he will say things like the law, the prophets, and the writings, and that's how the Old Testament is broken up. They call it the Tanakh,
Yeah.
right?
The
The
Torah,
Torah, the Ketuvim, and the
Navim.
Navim, right?
Navim's prophet, Ketuvim is writing,
Yeah,
and Torah is law.
yeah. And so
And the books of Moses. So Torah is the book. When you hear law, don't just think 10 Commandments.
you,
It is the first 5 books of the
yeah,
Bible.
the Torah, right?
Yeah.
And so that was what the Old Testament was called, the Tanakh, right? And so that's Jesus' shorthand. He's talking about that, the writings,
Yeah.
the prophets, in the law.
Yeah.
And so Jesus is affirming all of the Old Testament,
Yes.
right, as a closed canon. Like he's not quoting from other things.
No.
He's just quoting from those books. And the rest of the New Testament is being validated based on those things, right? That Peter is including the writings of Paul in with the scriptures of the Old Testament. And so they're starting to form a library early on of
Very
these
early.
letters and the gospel accounts.
Yeah.
And if you're like a super early church, if you're, within a couple decades of the resurrection of Jesus, you had the Old Testament and they would read the Old Testament. And they were starting to collect the letters that were circulating, Paul's letters that were Peter's, John's letters that were circulating. And they're starting to collect maybe a gospel account. Like the first gospel was probably Mark. And it was what they say that was like in the 60s or something, probably when it was starting to circulate.
55, 60.
Yeah,
something like
55 maybe, I think is the earliest. And so they might have a gospel account.
Yeah.
And maybe over time, over the next 50 years, they had a couple gospels.
Yeah.